Hey people, this is Ashley.
Hey people, this is Ashley.
Hey people, this is Ashley with Music After Dark HTX. Hey people, this is Ashley with Music After Dark HTX. God dang it, and I say it every podcast. I'm so excited because I always am so excited. Every time I get to do this. Seriously, it really blows my mind. The fact that all you artists want to keep sitting down with me and talking to me. This is exciting. So, with that being said, we have one person tonight, and I'm gonna let him introduce himself. And he literally, and I'm gonna post pictures of this later, gifted the podcast a record, and I'm like, I want to listen to it, but I don't want to open it, but I want to listen to it.
Open it.
Okay.
You can't hear it until you open it.
I'm so excited. I'm going to be doing that later. I'm excited. So, introduce yourself and the name of the band, which...
It's one of the same. Yeah. I'm Opie Hendrix. The band's Opie Hendrix. And yeah, I'm flying solo tonight.
Who are we missing?
Well, we have Patrick and Liam and Willie T. Sometimes Randy Wall will play keyboards and organs. He's on the record. But yeah, that's pretty much the core group. And then sometimes we have guests. But yeah, Patrick Kelly, Liam Haney, Willie T. Golden, and Randy Wall.
He had to come test the waters first. It's okay.
Well,
Some bands send one or two people to test it,
We're all
and then they
scattered.
book a redo. So
we're all scattered across the universe. So, and Randy's usually on the road with somebody. So,
fun fact, we have
yeah.
the ability to Skype this podcast. Just saying for future
well,
reference.
maybe next time.
We have the ability to do that. So how long have you guys been together? Because that's like so many moving parts because most of you guys don't even live in Houston, right?
Roughly. I mean, Houston area.
Okay.
I say this formation is close to 5 years.
Okay.
Patrick and Liam and Willie T was about 3 years ago. But yeah, I'd say 5 years, give or take.
So you said this formation. So was there something before this?
Shit, I've been at this a minute, girl. Yeah.
He's like, yes. He's like, yes. See, I told him, I was like, Joseph was really excited. Like, when I was like, oh, I got Opie Hendrix.
Yeah, there's been
I used to see you play with Freddie Everett and shit back in the
that is back in the day. Yeah.
fucking Freddie.
Lot of changing parts every few years. Quite a few members have passed away. We have Pat Sullivan, Mike Bly, Frankie Four Fingers Foyt, Warren Martins. Yeah, it's been a long, interesting road.
So are you from Houston?
I've been here since '92. I actually grew up in Indiana, Muncie.
How'd you get here?
I started attending the Art Institute.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
That sucks. They're not even
Just
gonna open anymore either.
stayed. Yeah, and this is back when it was on I think Yorktown or something. It was
like off the freeway where it ended
no,
up
and
being,
before
right?
that it was somewhere else. But no, I tried and failed at school and just stuck around doing
Well, you
hanging
went to
out
the
where
Art
everybody will let
Institute,
me.
So, okay, have you always wanted to be a musician? Like when you were younger, did you know that's what you wanted to do?
Absolutely. I don't think there's anything else that I ever really wanted to do. Hence here we are now. I mean, if there was something else I knew how to do, we might be talking about plumbing or something.
But would you want to do that though? I mean, Well, and most musicians have
Well,
like
as a
normal
homeowner,
9 to
I
5
have
jobs,
to,
right?
but no, this is just it's what I want to do, and I'm going to do it. Damn the torpedoes, you know.
Love it.
Yeah, it's just something that's in me.
So how'd you get started? You're just, I want to start a band, and you started a band. Like, where were you going
Somewhat.
when you started this project?
What do you?
Like venues. Like, where were you? Um, what's the word I'm looking for? So how did you find the other members of the band?
Well, first go around is jams.
And like, what were y'all doing? Like
blues
open mics and
jams.
stuff like that. Places? Is that?
Yeah, I used to host open mics. So many clubs that are no longer in existence. Mary Jane's is now, I think it's called the Pearl Bar now. Some of them's been knocked completely down to the ground. Fitzgerald's and Rudyard used to play music. I don't know what they're doing nowadays.
Comedy, I think they do.
I
Some
think
comedy
so,
stuff,
but
I
yeah,
think
there's so. I mean, it'd almost be easier to tell you where I haven't played.
Okay, let's do that. Where have you not played?
The
That you would like to
Summit.
play. Yeah, I mean, like, have you done shows at, like White Oak?
We haven't done White Oak. We've Heights Theater, Mucky Duck.
I'm assuming 19th Hole and the BFE and the Scout. No, you haven't done any of
A
those.
Scout, yeah, I
Okay.
played Scout Bar with Dale Watson I think last year.
And Acadia's not here anymore. So.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of this one club that was out on Kirkendall. Cardinal? Oh, honey, there's been so many years gone by. Just it's hard to think of them all now. But we've been at this a minute and like say toured the United States a little bit here and there. Played up in Austin a bit, Dallas a lot, San Antonio.
Okay, so since you've been everywhere, what advice would you give to bands that are trying to get out of Houston? Right? Like, how do you get on a bill? How do you get to go on a tour? How do you?
These days, that's a real good question.
So was it easier back then when you first started to maybe?
You used to be able to pick up a phone and call the person direct.
So pre-social media, it was
Oh, yeah,
easier.
I'd call up, let's say Adair's in Dallas. Sometimes Lois would call me and say, then you'd book dates or whatever. Started doing like the first of the month. I played Dallas so often that we actually got nominated for like Dallas awards, like Houston Press Music Awards, Yeah, so we actually got nominated and played some of them. But man, going down, it's like there's so many of them. It's just kind of fogs up the mind to go in chronological order.
But you have so much knowledge. Like so many, this is just my opinion. I would say at least half the people that have been on this podcast would kill to probably go on a tour and do some of the things that.
Well, it's a grind.
Is it networking?
Just
I'm like, network, make friends.
You go, it's like
Contacts,
that. You go,
right?
and you'd play a gig. You'd like say you're out of town, so you wouldn't like be the headliner or whatever, but you'd go in and kill.
Is the headlining space the best space anymore? That ending space, right? Because
It all depends on how many tickets you're selling.
Because we talk about that a lot on the podcast, where like the headlining spot, and I'll be vending or just out at a show, and like everybody leaves before now. Like it just seems like everyone leaves before, or it just drastically.
My experience,
the popul.
been.
Like everybody stays for us.
My experience, it's like they're paying tickets to see Opie Hendrix. So, and if we're opening up on the bill, like when we do a show with Los Carnales, then they're coming to see Los Carnales, but they're getting Opie Hendrix, and so it's I don't know. It's a different pay scale for sure. Openers don't make near as much as the headliner, but you make up for that in merch sales. So
Because you obviously have merch. I love it so much. Okay, so what advice would you give to new bands? Should they invest in merch? Is that something that they should do?
Well, yes.
Even if they're only like having to DIY it and start out small, they
Merch.
should totally. Is that how
People
you guys
want to
are
hold
making
on
money?
to something.
Is that how musicians make money? Because
These days,
you've
yes.
been out of Houston and stuff, but a lot of people that are on the spot have not got to do all of that.
These days,
so.
yes, even the big names.
Right.
Like Taylor, she's making all her money on merch and ticket sales.
Well,
because
that's a whole other level, I guess, when you get Ticketmaster
but
and Live Nation involved in
it's
stuff.
the same.
Right?
It's the same thing. Only mode of transportation and your accommodations. You're still doing this. Of course, you have a bigger crew of folks, and you've got a whole bunch of people doing a lot of stuff that you normally, when you're starting out, you're doing all of it yourself. You're setting up your merch booth. You're running your, I've sold records and stuff from the stage, but no, it's a lot of it. It's the same principle. Like I say, your accommodations, your mode of travel, and your pay changes quite a bit. But even like say at Taylor Swift or whoever level, merch is where it's at. Because not to talk shit on no one, but Spotify don't care about you, and they're not going to, and getting on the radio these days. Radio is kind of like not necessarily dying, but it's like say they were the most money I ever made was through XM Sirius radio, and this is like 15 years ago, and it was good. This was good royalties, but mostly now everybody's streaming everything. So you figure 5 million streams get you $35 and a cheeseburger, but you're at a show just like the memes say. One T-shirt sale equals like 5,000 spins.
That is crazy.
So people want to have something in their hand.
By the way, you're the first person that's ever broke that down on this podcast. That's insane.
But yeah, so my advice, you're asking, I'm telling, merch, get you, even if it's stickers. Now, you ain't going to sell a lot of stickers. You give those away. You have some giveaway stuff. You make an album, put it on vinyl, put it on CD, put it on cassette. T-shirts, even if it's just one color with your name stenciled across. Merch.
Yes, dude, I love that. So what's going on with the band now? You guys, what shows? Do you guys have some shows coming up? Are you guys?
Yeah, we're looking forward to, we're doing a show with Marshall Falcon coming up on the 5th.
DMs. I've been trying to get him on this podcast for a hot minute. It's so funny. He's a busy man.
Yes. Well, he's fixing to go to Europe, but before he do, we're going to do a show together on the 15th of March at Dan Electro's.
That's in my neighborhood. That's cool.
Word.
That's in my neighborhood. So.
We're playing a lot of out-of-towny kind of thing, like Lake Charles, going to do Clarksdale, Mississippi, run up to Indianapolis, maybe stop through Louisville, Nashville, Memphis, do a little short run like that, and then we'll be in Sugarland in a couple weeks, or when is it? Bryan, Texas will be. I'd have to look at my dates, but I know that April and March, we'll be out like Houston surrounded areas, and then, like I say, running out to. I really like playing in Lake Charles. That's a good little spot. So hitting this Lake Charles, run up to New Orleans, stop off
So
Clarksdale.
what's in Lake Charles besides casinos?
Oh man, they've got a pretty good little scene there.
Do they have a good music scene there in Lake Charles?
Yeah,
Panorama.
The Panorama Music Palace, I think it's called. No, they have like a nice little music scene there.
Really?
Yeah.
Apparently Beaumont has it going on too. Have you heard this? Apparently Beaumont has a whole up and coming music scene. I was
a lot of places
educated
are
on that
starting
last
to
night.
bring music out more than you'd think. I mean, your smaller towns, especially the further away you go, they don't get, they get the same
The same stuff, right?
locals. But when somebody from out of town, they at least generates curiosity. Like, hey, let's see what these guys are about. But yeah, so where were we? Where were we? Oh yeah, we were in Beaumont.
We're in Boa, no, just like Charles, I love it. Because you've been in other, you travel. So how do like Austin, Dallas, and San Antonio's music scenes compared to ours? Better, worse, just different?
Different. Well, not necessarily different. Austin's got their group of folk and people that and they get a lot more traveling, and regional and national type acts. A lot of folks kind of steer away from Houston. Houston's kind of a rough little town if you're not, in with it, or if you don't have I shit you not, I've been drive-by trucker show at Rudyard's, and there's probably maybe 20 of us at the show, and 5 of them were on stage. Drive-by truckers. You feel me? Yeah. And then next time they came around, saw them at the Continental Club, and then next time around, So you really got to dig your heels in Houston, I would say.
You think it's because it's so big and we don't have Austin has 6th Street, right? There's places that have lots of bars next to each other, you know what I mean? Like strips of live music. Houston doesn't really have that because it's so big.
Well, see, they say 6th Street, but that's mostly like shop bars and stuff like that. And a bunch of amateurs running around getting arrested.
Fun fact, I am not from Houston. I would claim Austin, probably.
Well, I lived out in Wimberley for 10 years.
Oh, okay.
So I would go to Austin. But
Yeah.
even when we drive from Houston to Austin, it wouldn't necessarily be 6th Street. It'd be the certain venues, like, Continental Club, Antone's was always a nice place to play. Hills Cafe. Love playing Hills Cafe. What was that other one? Iron Cactus.
That was a good one.
I enjoyed playing there.
That was good.
What was that one?
That good. That's
Out on-
that's like
out on
my
the
high
lake.
school years.
The Oasis, I
The
think.
Oasis, yep. That does
But that's every
bottomless
city. I mean, like when you
mimosas
go
on
to
Sundays.
Dallas, there's certain venues. I mean, yeah, you've got Deep Ellum and everything, and there's venues, but it all depends on where your people will show up. It could be Joe's Biscuit Barn, and if your peeps show up, it's the Grand Ole Opry.
So do you think it's the band's job, the promoter's job, or the venue's job?
You trying to get me in trouble?
I'm
You
not.
want to
Look,
get dirty? I'll get dirty.
I did not even know that promoters was a real job until I interviewed Apex Fallen. Like that blew my mind that there are people.
Well, it should be a real job.
gatekeeping, venues.
It should be a real job, but unfortunately, a lot of clubs depend on the
What? That's a
band.
thing?
It's like, hey, and you'll get clubs that'll, you say it's a ticketed show or a door show, they expect you to do all the work, and then at the end of the night, and may I add, not say a fucking word about you playing there. They'll talk about everybody else's shows. They won't say a word about your band, except for maybe an hour before you showtime, and then come at you in the night. Well, we didn't have as many people as we thought, and
The algorithms on Facebook don't work that way. You can't really post it an hour ahead of time.
well, that's what happened. At this one. But anyway, yeah. Or you'd like to say you get people that really support the arts and they'll do what they can, and you get guarantee. It all depends if you're paying for a straight guarantee, or if you're doing a ticketed show, or if you're all sharing the bill, or if you're an opener. I mean, it varies.
Learning so much.
Like I
seriously,
said,
all of these things are things that
yeah,
I didn't know, dude. I didn't
it all depends on the different venues and the different bands. I would like to think that they got as much skin in the game as the artist.
For some reason, I just thought and my candle company is like what started the podcast, right? So me just vending in the back of shows, right? I'm not paying because I'm vending. So I just see like the show and the fluctuation of people, right? I honest to God thought that just bands split that money. Until some people started being like, would book someplace and would be required to
Well,
sell
there's some
tickets.
places that'll charge you to
I
play.
did not know that was a...
Like you say, hey, you got to make this much money. You know,
I
but
literally just
you
learned
know,
that
but
like 3 weeks ago that's
you
a
would
thing.
think, you know, because they'd have more skin in the game because they're the ones that are selling the booze. They're ultimately trying to get people in there to buy the booze and buy their drink and pay their bills. And you get a band that draws, you know, a good draw. You take care of them and you treat them right, and boom, you keep on keeping on, and everybody wins.
Please subscribe to all of these people's stuff so they can start making money. Seriously, like all my bands that are on this podcast, if you're watching this, please go back and like, please follow all their social medias.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
seriously,
that's what throws me in this
likes and-
day and age is
Do y'all
the
have a
whole.
TikTok? Do y'all have a TikTok?
I've never TikTok, and I don't think I will. I have Instagram, not sure how to use it as much as I'd like to. I even hired a professional social media team to help me with, because I just don't understand. You know, you're talking to a
Post
man
on
who used
Instagram,
to
but
mail.
It'll link to your Facebook.
We'd mail the schedules out. You'd go hit cars and
Okay, street teams, and I have talked about this. Like, so a bunch of my younger years, obviously, were not spent in Houston. It was more of the Killeen, Fort Hood area. It's like a Saturday, going to Walmart, in there for an hour, and I swear to God, I would come out and there'd be like 5 flyers for things. I mean, it would just be like almost ridiculous.
well,
Right?
yeah.
Almost ridiculous.
No, it got
But-
ridiculous.
I'm having to pull it out. I'm having to look at social media, the event pages on social media. There's like 10,000 things happening every weekend in Houston, right? If you just go to the events. So should we bring back street teams and posting like taping flyers on poles? Because
That actually still
are people
exists.
paying attention to social media because it's so...
I don't think they are paying
Oversaturated?
attention to social media. I think that's oversaturated.
I host-
I think there's so many robots out there.
I host markets, and most of my events, I don't even create an event page.
You know, a
And
lot
people
of
are like, why? I'm like, for what? For
Well,
what? Do people
it-
actually pay attention to that and go and like check in and
If you-
say they're
if you-
going and
buy an ad. If you buy ads, and like I say, a lot of the people that are,
can't afford to do that?
well, you know, you got to invest in yourself, and sometimes it's like you look at a show, it's like, okay, we're only getting paid X amount of dollars. We'll go ahead and throw X amount of dollars. You don't have to go crazy, you know, maybe $5 a day or something. But you put that into your ad, and it'll come back to you. It may not happen that event, but it'll come back,
eventually.
you know, as far as I understand it. And like I say, I have help, outside help, with my social medias, because I can't even. I can't even. I mean,
We're on like 6 or 7 different social media pages right now.
yeah, and you know,
It's like 5 on.
it's hard. It's hard to keep. I've got Facebook.
One's not even mine. I do it for my
that-
stepmom, her jewelry company. I just run her social media for her.
You
Shout out to Victoria.
Facebook, Instagram, a website. I'd be damned if I get on
The tickety tack.
TikTok, and I think I've been banned from Twitter. I got hacked last year-ish, right? But I mean, I put out like my biggest like engaged post. It was about the new album coming out, and it got like 300 some odd loves and comments and everything like that. The very next day, I'm hacked, so I had to start completely over, like no more nothing. And I tried to get it, you know, on Twitter or X or what do they call it, and whoever hacked my account got me, or at least my phone number and email address. I can't even tweet, but I never did. When I had it, I never did. You know, I hate to say it, I understand Facebook enough to where I can post my little whatevers, what they call them, reels and stuff. And it just, the whole concept, the whole concept of that content. I thought the music was the content. I thought show, but no, you got to go on there and hawk tour, and you got to do this and that, and all these
love it.
goofy
You
little look at me memes or whatever. And I don't know. I feel silly doing it. It looks like, I mean, I try to engage and be all contenty, but man, it's really a pain in my ass. And it makes,
I host a podcast, and every time, like, I do a lot of reposts on my Tickety Tack. Every time I've ever actually, like, spoke on there, I feel stupid as shit. Dude, I feel so dumb. I feel so dumb. I'm like, yeah, I cannot. That's like a full-time job. Mad respect to, I guess, these people that are spending hundreds of hours in front of a camera making money, because...
Well, and I know I'm appear to be like a crusty old, grumpy whatever, but man, no, there's a lot of, like I say, and a lot of the content, it's like, what? Why? And I don't spend a lot of time on it, Usually when I'm watching your content, I'm leaving content.
Dude, I love it.
I mean, and yeah, I have to go on there to promote, shows or like say the new album. And like I've got a website that I sell all my merch at. So I'm going to be on there to tell you about my merch. And we might even come up with a silly little skit video, but I can't see doing that more than once a month or what, or whenever it's pertinent to,
like 3 times a day or
where when
whatever.
it's relevant to like, hey, we got something going on this week, but the world has changed crazy and this industry has changed crazy.
For the good or for the worse?
They're killing art. They're killing it. Art is becoming, it has no value because anybody can do it. And no, I'm sorry, kitten, not anybody can do it. Yeah, you can get a robot to do it for you, but I spent my whole life honing my craft, and I'm competing with people that push a button and go, okay, look at me, hot tour. And it's like, man, I want to, just kind of set the record straight that it's not entertainment. It's pacifying you because you're already in that beta state. It's worse than TV ever was. But it's like, and people are just drawn to it. It breaks my heart because these people out there's millions of brilliant artists. And you ain't going to see them. You're going to see the numbnuts going out there going, woo! And I know
Seriously, it's what kills me. Like something, like the stupidest shit will come and I will go to the person's page just because I'm curious, right? And I'm like, really? That just got you like a million?
And
are you kidding me?
And the sad thing about it is like it takes millions and millions of views or clicks or whatever just to, millions. When it didn't use, how do you reach millions and millions of folks and it still don't make a difference? A lot of that social media is bots. A lot of the people, and it's just like with all this political bullshit. Now, I got people I love on both sides, and that's fucked up. Only 2 sides. There's how many genders, but there's only 2 political parties. Cool. I ain't hating. I'm just saying, and it's on both sides that are just regurgitating this shit so they can, virtue signaling. They're just like, look how smart I am. And they're just repeating something that ain't even true or might be too true. And there's no thought and there's no heart. They're just, I gotta compete with the content. And like I said, I've got people I love that are on both sides, and I don't give a shit, I know what's right, and I know what I feel is right. I don't know. I guess that's getting a little preachy, but it breaks my heart because what social media should be is a way for us to exchange and really exchange, not just blash out going, hey, this is what I think, and if you don't think like I think, then you're wrong. And I'm starting to get a little
fact check.
emotional.
Facebook when it was originally created was for kids in college, right? Like you had to have like a
MySpace.
I was on like MySpace, and then my I had a cousin in college at Tarleton that like was like, hey, this Facebook thing, and I'm like, wait, what is this? And he's showing it to me, and it's very different now.
Well, I'm sorry to
It's
jump up on my
very
soapbox.
different now.
But it's like I just don't. I guess I'm
think-
just old and afraid and don't understand my phone. I don't know.
I think we obviously couldn't live without social media. I think, right? Like what we do if we couldn't Google something. What we do? I actually
getting to be
sometimes
that
call
way.
like 3 people before I'm like, fuck it, and Google it. Right? I actually will call people like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll just Google it. But I also think it's like super oversaturated and has not helped like the music scene. There are apps that can make me sound like a singer. Fun fact, I am not a singer and do not play a musical instrument. But there's an app
Yeah.
that can make me sound like I do.
Yeah.
How is that fair? I feel like it's like cheating or something, right?
Well,
Can I say that? I feel it's like cheating.
yeah. I mean, I don't disagree. Like I said, I've spent my whole life. I've been doing.
Family musical? Were they musicians?
Mama played guitar and
Okay.
she paints now. But no, I kind of went my way because that's just all I ever wanted to do and be, and so yeah.
Here's some personal questions. Are we in a relationship? Do we have
Oh,
children?
I'm married.
Okay, so married.
Yeah.
Do we have children or fur babies? I have
For my
puppies that
first
need to be
marriage, yeah,
adopted.
I've got my babies are
Grown.
22 is my baby.
That's your baby.
And
Your
my
baby's
my
27.
boy's fixing to be 27.
Are they musicians? Are they into music?
Baby girl Marley, she plays. In fact, I even had her flew her down and had her play a ukulele on one of my songs on the last album about 4 years ago. And my boy's an artist. He does a lot of and a gamer, but he does a lot of that. I don't know how to. What's it? The Japanese, anime, and the other one. Google
I know. I found it.
anime and cartoony type stuff. Not cartoon, but animation, anime.
That's cool. So you're a very artsy family.
Yes.
That's cool.
In fact, I used to get my boy to do a lot of my posters and stuff. And he runs my YouTube page. Does a lot of the computer stuff.
So where can people find your music at? YouTube?
YouTube's a good one. You can get all the merch and music at opiehendrix.com. Spotify, if they stream it, it's out
you're
there.
everywhere. You're
And
on
we got a
everything.
and I'm trying to do is I know I just got a brand new. Well, actually, yeah, in November. Yeah, it's kind of stinking new. Trying to get folks to listen to my old catalog. Some of the new folks that got turned on to us a couple years ago with the Unhappy People. There's that's my 5th album. I've got 6 out. I mean, you go to Chupacabra, you do
Wait, how many
Camino
albums
Alto.
How many albums do you have?
Smashed Hits, San Jacinto, Chupacabra, Camino Alto, Unhappy People, and the new one, Monsters and Robots.
Okay, so 6 albums. That's a lot. And how many years?
Well, I put out the first one in 2000. Smashed Hits came out 2000. San Jacinto came out 2003, and that was year 1 of winning Houston Press Music Awards for Best Roots Rockabilly.
Ooh.
Or was it Roots Rock Rockabilly? I don't remember. I'd have to look at it. And then Won again on the 04, and then put out Chupacabra at 06. So we're almost at a 20-year reunion for that. Camino Alto came out in 10, so we're at 15-year anniversary this year. Wait another year, and was it 2020? So yeah, that'll be 5 year for Unhappy People, and then of course
The newest album is called what?
Monsters and Robots that just came out in November.
What kind of, and I hate to say genre because it's all like so intermeshed.
I don't have one.
Okay.
I think that's kind of why I struggle so hard.
So just.
I got a punk rock heart,
Okay.
but also I'm devoted to the twang. So it's like a honky tonk punk rock kind of alternative. We call it alternative rock and honky tonk. Was what it says on the shirts or whatever for some kind of, but it's just kind of hitting every branch of the musical roots tree on the way down. So there's a little bit of country, there's blues influence, like I say, rockabilly influence, good old American rock and roll, of course the punk rock. That's in my heart, and that's where it stays. But yeah, nobody knows what the fuck to do with me, man. If you want to know the truth, like country radio stations, Red Dirt and all that stuff, they might play one song off the album. Rock and radio. That's what I loved about God bless Mojo Nixon. Never met the man, but he did more for my career than anybody I could think of. But when Mojo had his outlaw radio show on XM Sirius, he just played that whole record. And you'd go from, like I say, you'd have to listen to it, and there's rock and roll, there's a little psychedelic rock and roll, there's country, there's punk, reggae. I've even recorded, and like I say, put a little reggae spin on some stuff. But I just will not be held down by one genre. I can't, I won't. And if I could, I'd probably be a lot more successful. But fuck 'em. I got to be me. I got to do what I got to do, and I'm paying for it.
I mean, but you're not, though. I mean, because you've got out of Houston. You know what I mean? You've gotten out of Houston. You've been to other cities. You've, gone on tours.
Yeah. Shoot, if you count all that Spotify shit,
Okay,
I've been
so
all
why
over the
not
world.
Start an online radio station that plays nothing but local Houston music.
Oh,
somebody please fucking do this.
That's somebody else's. We used to do that back in the day at this little, and this is at the beginning
I
of
can't figure out
internet.
how to do it. Someone please do it.
Earthwire.net was and I've even did some DJing on KPFT.
Well, in 90.1.
Yeah.
So this podcast is now partnered with the Houston Collective, and
Messiah.
Yeah, I love him. Shout out. My podcast gets replayed every Friday, the 8 o'clock spot. I love that. And I'm like, what? Why? We need more of that, I think, though.
Well, it's out there. You just
because
gotta
the
look
Buzz
for it.
didn't do
Jimmy
their
Palacios
holiday stuff this year.
Has a pretty good program. Nola County. Now he's out of New Orleans, but he syndicates them, and he's got a pretty good show. There's a lot of stuff on KPFT 90.1 that's Houston focused, especially Saturdays and Sundays, with all the blues and Rourke.
Yeah,
Rourke's
because
back
they
do
a bunch of that stuff.
But no, as far as I got into DJing because I didn't have a turntable. And so I'd go up to the studio and do my little 2-hour show, Earthwire, because they had turntable and I was able to play my records. But yeah, I'll leave a programming to somebody else, because if I had a show, I'd probably just play what my record collection, and I think you all get sick of mix of Morrissey and Slayer.
You didn't say Pantera.
I love Pantera. I've got
No, it's the
all
fun.
Morrissey's records. I have one Pantera album.
I also love Pantera. Do not send me a cease and desist. I love Pantera. Do not cancel me. It's just I always ask the question like, "What's your musical influences?" And
They
I would
Might
say
Be Giants
like
is a huge one.
97% of the bands on this podcast are like Pantera. Like
They
that
Might
is
Be
their-
Giants is a big one of mine. Drive By Truckers,
Yeah.
REM,
Love it.
the Smiths, Morrissey.
Do you think it's easier for
Howlin'
you to
Wolf.
book shows because you've been doing this for so long compared to someone that's maybe a newer band that's maybe done 3 or 4 shows in Houston?
You'd
Been
think.
together less than a year?
You'd think so, but
I'm
not
asking,
really.
I'm serious.
You'd think so, but really now it's all like I say. They go with your likes and your
All that
your
shit.
numbers, and my numbers are shit. A lot of people that came up with me either growed up or died, and like I say, a lot of the folks I used to like say Lois, she's still with us, thank God, but she sold Adair, so it's like. I'm calling new people, and sometimes there's this neat little thing that the youngins like to do is not answer phone calls or return texts or emails. It's like ghosting. It's totally cool.
Okay, no,
and
I'm
I
good.
shouldn't take it personal because that's just the way the world's running nowadays, but I still do.
Phone calls, not so well. Texts, emails, I'm on that probably. But I'm also 40 years old. So
You're still a pup.
phone calls, though, I'm like, wait, why are you calling when you can just text me? Just
Well,
text me. I get all nervous. I don't know. It's like, why are you calling?
I've got relationships that still carry on. I'm fortunate in relationships. A lot of folks, they'll look at your numbers. And it's like, well, I don't spend my life on social media, and you buy your numbers.
People can do that, yes.
And
sometimes the dumbest shit though can go viral. Like the dumbest shit
Yeah.
can go viral. Like
I'm going on the hot tour.
she's like a felon now. I think she got arrested.
Well, she
Bless
got
her
taken
heart.
advantage of. Bless her heart.
heart.
I'm pretty
Bless
sure
her
that.
heart.
I'm pretty sure those weren't her bitcoins. I think she just put her face on there.
Oh, bless her
Somebody
heart.
talked her into that shit.
Yeah, like, hey, endorse this. This is a great idea.
But
God, bless her heart.
what are you gonna do? You gotta either beat them or join them. And
So let me ask you this, God, because you've been around, like you've been places. Okay, so hopefully there's somebody watching this that's maybe a single artist, right? They're like a guitarist, bassist, drummer, vocalist, and they want to start a band. How, should they go to open mic nights? But like a drummer can't go to an open mic night, right? So
they have open.
Do they have
jams.
that, where
Like
you-
I think, a few clubs have like. A lot of them are blues jams, but that's just because it's easy for everybody that ain't never met to go. Okay, 1, 4, and 5. Okay, well, pattern.
where would
I see a lot of
advice
people.
and stuff just go to your local bars and go to local shows and
I see that. I see a
network?
lot of people
please
putting
don't
up
say Craigslist.
posts saying, "Hey, I'm a guitar." There's like Texas musicians and all these little groups.
Okay.
And
And
then,
I
hey,
share some. Sometimes
I'm
I come
Billy and I
across-
play guitar. I'm looking for a singer. I play bass. Hey, we need a bass player. There's
Is there a
Rhythm
shortage of
Section 1 ads.
bass players in Houston, by the way? Because sometimes I do see a lot of posts where it
Good bass
steadily
players.
seems to be like
Good
everyone's looking
bass
for
players
bass
are hard to
players.
find.
Okay. And drummers are in like 5 bands at one time, so make that make sense.
Don't get me started.
Yes, I'm like, where's Joseph right now? Because he's in like 4 bands. I'm like, seriously? But it's
Well-
not just him. It's like pretty much
Yes. Well,
everybody that's been on
because
this
they're in
podcast,
demand.
their drummer is
And
in,
same
like,
way
3
with
or
bass
4
players, but they're just in demand. And unfortunately, you got to
Why
eat.
are people not like people don't want to play drums and bass? Is it
Oh, there's plenty of people with drum sets and bass guitars.
it's not good?
Well, that's
A difference
that's
of
not for me to
opinion?
say. It's about being able to hold down the gig.
You think
know?
it's not just being musically inclined, but also fitting the band that you're in?
Yeah. And there's cats out there that can roll with anybody.
I don't know if you would be a good fit to someone that's like screaming in a microphone and I can't understand anything they're saying. Do you know what I mean?
I wouldn't do that to you. If that was the band
you know
I
what
was,
I mean?
if that was the band I was in, I'd be playing the drums.
Because some of the questions I ask are like, you guys bands spend so much time together, you guys are like family. So if you're rotating people, the new people you're bringing in really isn't just talent based. They have to fit the family too, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, we like say I play with the same cats always. So unless like once in a while we have to sub out, but then you hire hired guns. So you get some other kind of because.
Is that a thing? Are there like musicians that are just like
Shit
floating
tons.
around to be
There's
like,
probably
well,
a bunch of them in this building. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's really beautiful to see like all for one for all, Three Musketeers. We're in a band. We're going to fucking take over the world. But in reality,
But Houston's an hour away from Houston, and venues are closing, and a 45-minute drive seems like
well, and if you
3 hours to some people.
and if you need to pay your phone bill, and somebody calls you up and says, "Hey, man, can you play this date? Here's the list," and they're paying. You go pay your phone bill. It's and that's the way it's always been. I mean, yeah, it's great to make art, but you also got to make a living.
You think Houston's lacking in music festivals? Right, we have shows, right? BFE, Scout.
Here lately, I
like-
mean, I don't know. Yes and no. I mean,
Because I do think there are places inside of Houston where you could strategically do a 2-day.
yeah, we used to do it all
Festival?
the time. Westheimer Arts Festival, Free Press Music Festival went on.
Is that a thing that's maybe... I haven't been to one.
I'd like to
so-
see some more. I think a lot of it has to do with finances and getting. It's pretty expensive to throw a festival, and I've seen it from both ends. Is where a lot of people lose a lot of money. Some folks never get paid, and I mean it's hard for me to say. I think. If you look hard enough, you could find something going on. Now, as far as like big time festivals like ACL Festival,
Why don't we have one of those here in Houston?
we kind of did, and we kind of do. It's called the rodeo. It may not be your kind of. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. Fun fact, this is the first time I've ever actually said this. Anyone outside of family, I used to stock show. I'm not from Houston. I was like secretary of the FFA in my high school. Actually played fifth with Lamb in the Houston. I am a big supporter of like the scholarship and agricultural side of the rodeo. I am not going to spend $300 to see Bun B, bro.
Well,
I'm
you're
not.
kind of
Like,
going to
and
spend
I'm
that
not.
much to see somebody. Even at these festivals, you're spending that much money to go see somebody.
Why is it that much?
Cause record, but
Why
they don't.
can't we
Because
do,
they don't
like,
sell. They don't
Woodstock,
sell.
like
They don't sell records no
1969,
more.
Where we're just like showing up in a field and people are bringing their gear and we're just making it fucking happen.
Oh, you can
Like,
do that.
Why can we not do this? Like, I have heard about these cool pop-ups that are happening in like Austin and San Antonio under like underpasses and shit, where kids are just showing up with their gear because venues won't book them,
Yeah.
and they're just playing till the cops shut it down. Why can we not do pop-ups like that? Not like, and I love
you
all
can.
I love all my like local venues.
You
So
can.
much,
Do you have a
but, like,
generator?
no, but goddamn, I'll
But I'm
buy
saying,
one.
you
I'll buy
get a generator and an extension cord and a Dream. I mean, you can do it. A lot of people don't do it. Shit like that happened in the 60s and 70s. Hell,
Like
the Grateful
eating
Dead and all
ourselves.
them, they used to play in the park for free. But then you see what happened when the Stones tried that shit. Somebody got killed. You know? You know, that would be awesome. But it's just somebody with a dream and said, all right, I know this, you know.
Please make this happen. I think
We're too spoiled. We go back to the whole social media thing.
Fun fact, I love it. Technical difficulties.
We go, you know, to the whole everything's at my fingertips. You know, like I said, grumpy old man story time. When I was a kid, I could not wait to get my driver's license. I'd even steal my brother's car and drive it around the neighborhood when I was 14 years old. I got my driver's license. Remember I was telling you about my kids earlier? Johnny has his driver's license, but he don't fucking drive. Marley still don't have her driver's license. They don't care. They don't have to. They DoorDash. They stream. They don't have to go out and get, you know, their shoes wet. You know, and those that go out to these festivals and all these high ticket prices, like, you know, we can name it hell. I mean, that's how they can make money. And when I talk about they making money, it's the people that already have all the money. You know, you used to have a record label, which that ain't gonna happen no more. But
do those even really exist? Like
it kind of, yeah, but you've got to have millions and millions of streams and clicks and stuff, and you got to pay them like a couple $300,000. Taylor got in with $300,000. Here you go. And then, but you figure people are going to
But
pay
it was
those
like
high
the dirty
ticket prices.
90s, though, too. The 90s. Like, think about it. Taylor, there's these big people that were also involved in the...
Well, Napster, you know, when they
That
started giving away the music for free, or 99, you know, whatever, cent a pop, whatever, I don't know. I've always bought my music.
Sorry, I was guilty of that there. My freshman year of high school on AOL.
You know, that's fine. No, but they just don't sell records. Record companies don't sell records no more. They sell those big, expensive tickets because they're going to make, first of all, back in the day, a record label they used to have an A&R department. They go, hey, we're going to develop these guys. We like, you know, we think we can make some money off of them. Mm-hmm. We're going to give them enough money so we can make our money. And like I say, they'd go record their record all on the record dime, record company's dime, and they'd go out and they'd make a shit ton of money for the record company through record sales and stuff like that, or they'd get dropped. Okay, you're no longer making records.
And we talked about social media, how like it kind of like is not really a win for the music industry. Okay, let's think about like the 60s and 70s. Let's think about like Motley Crue, Rolling Stones. A bunch of them also got fucked too.
Oh,
though.
yeah, no.
Like without social media. Do you know what I mean?
The record company
they were
is not your friend. The artist is the enemy. First of all, they're going to make their money off you before you ever see any kind of money. So it's just a different way to get their money. But you asked the question about why they charge you so much for tickets. Well, because they're not selling shit for records. So they're recouping, and I'm talking about the record company, not the artist, unless, you know, you get to the Taylors and
I'm gonna say this, and I love this artist so much. Jelly Roll.
Yeah.
So I'm going to speak on this real quick because me and Daniel actually, with our friend Mason, saw Jelly Roll. We paid $19 4 years ago in the small room at Warehouse Live.
Right.
Like imagine that
there.
right now.
Yeah.
The baby room. Like he's hanging out with people after, like.
How much is tickets being sold for now?
I can't even fucking afford to see him, and I get the codes, and I'm on like the list. So when they first, like, I am supposed to know before everybody else knows.
Yeah. How much do your tickets go for now?
Like $300-400.
Yeah. And why? Because the record companies gotta make their money.
And I love that for him. Like I love that for I love where he's won awards and he's like blown the fuck up, but I cannot even afford to see him now. Like. And I saw him at Warehouse Live for $19.
Well, yeah.
That is crazy.
So that let that be a lesson to you, kids. When you can go see a band for $19, go fucking see them because they
Seriously,
might
you
be
don't
300.
know,
You know,
like-
but it's the record labels that have to whoever's put him up there. They got to they're getting their money back. They ain't doing it because they love art.
And I'm literally seeing all these shows and I'm hearing all this great music and I'm like,
Yeah.
how the fuck do we just get him out of Houston? Like, what? Or, I'm sorry, The Buzz, bring back your hometown for the holidays and the whole
Houston ain't really that bad.
fun
a town.
thing that you did for local bands. Because there's so much good local
Houston
music.
ain't that bad a town, and it's all that's the way. It's
So
just
much
the way
good
the world
local
works.
music.
You know, you talk about why don't we have festival? Well, because these people they're going to make their money.
Parking. Like, where would people
Somebody-
park?
if
Where would we do
Somebody's going to make their money, and that's the way it's
Fucking
always
parking.
been. You know,
It makes me
you talk
sad.
about the Rolling Stones, and you talk about back in the day, yeah, they were broke.
They were broke as shit.
You want to talk about? Look at all these blues cats. They was broke. The record label would buy
Look
them a
at the
Cadillac.
bands that were influenced by them.
You know, you ever see the
And
movie
they're broke as
Cadillac
shit.
Records?
I think I actually have seen that.
It's about the chess records out of Chicago with Howlin' Wolf, Chuck Berry, Muddy and all them. And that's where they made the money. The artist, you got your brand new Cadillac. We paid your rent, but you don't own that house. Elvis Presley, he was broke. People don't realize that. They think about
So
the big
broke,
old.
dude. It's so broke.
They talk about this big empire that he has, Graceland and Elvis, the whole estate. But man, while he was alive and shit, yeah, he had all the, amenities and he had money. But Colonel Tom got half of that shit. He wouldn't. He got. Yeah, Elvis wasn't.
Starving artist for real.
Elvis wasn't rich until he died.
Since like
And then
the
how's he
original
gonna spend that
Woodstock.
shit?
Artists have been starving since like the OG original Woodstock. Seriously.
So, yeah, it's a sad state, but they ain't sell. That's why you're paying your ticket prices so high because they ain't selling records, and the venues are getting merch. They're getting a percentage.
Because you
Everybody's
don't have
taking.
to. You don't have to buy records. Apple did during the Super Bowl. You get like 3 months for like 99 cents or some shit. So you basically have access to all the music you want. So why would you? Can I boycott social media? I can't. I'm gonna be like canceled. Like we need it, but like, do we need it?
Well, it's here. It ain't going nowhere. And now you got the robots taking over, and have took over. Pretty soon, even people ain't going to be making their art no more. It's going to be, it's going to be artificial intelligence.
Crazy.
Key word: artificial.
Look, I saw iRobot. I'm never gonna have a robot in my house. I don't care. Like, I don't care.
Well, that's what robots are supposed to do. They're supposed to sweep your floors and do your laundry. They're not supposed to be writing your songs, creating art, because you ain't got to pay a robot shit. But it's all about the money. It ain't about the milk and honey. It's about the people, the labels, or the entertainment conglomerates, the moguls. They're making their money. And if you're going to a concert and you're buying, okay, let's say you get lucky and get a $300 ticket for the nosebleed, and you go and you buy a T-shirt for $50 fucking dollars. That the artist is getting your $50 T-shirt, and they're splitting a merch agreement. They get a percentage. The venue cuts in the merch. Everybody's getting paid except the artist until the artist is. And what you think the artists are getting is a drop in the bucket to what the industry is making. So just imagine, let's say Jelly Roll. Just imagine what he's doing good and making it all right. Just imagine what the industry's getting, the labels
like
and the
4
entertainment
times.
conglomerates.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. It's always been. Doing it on a local level, it's a grind, and they don't keep you doped up so you don't think about it. You got to go out and work your ass
You
off
have to
and
have
buy
a
your
day
own
job,
dope.
deal with your wife,
And
your
yeah,
girlfriend, your
you
kids.
got to go out and work your day
fur
job just to buy
babies.
your own dope.
and then go to shows and,
and
deal with
then
that shit.
yeah. So yeah, it would depress me if I just if I just wasn't so spiteful. Yeah, I mean it'd be sad if I gave a shit, but I make my music because that's what I do. I don't write my songs write me.
Okay, so how does that work? Do you have the words or do you hear the melody first?
I could write some badass lyrics to What's Weird and Playing.
Yeah.
Devil Child! No, but seriously.
Like, because I'm not a musician, but
It all depends on the situation. A lot of times when I'm picking or playing around, like say, sometimes I'll be at the piano just kind of diddle-a-dilling, and hey, this kind of works. And then sometimes I'll just have like a lyric, like with Surfside. I was literally out in the drink. I was out in the water, and I was just kind of, let's take that short ride, and rolled down to Surfside, ran to my truck and sang it into my phone, went back out in the water, and then figured it out later. But it depends. Sometimes it's the music comes first, sometimes it's the lyrics, sometimes they come together at the same time. Sometimes they don't never come, and you're sitting there going, well. And then that's where a lot of crap songs get written, but you got to realize, okay, you got to know what you stand behind and what you leave behind, For me, it takes a while to come up with an album's worth of material because, yeah, there's a bunch of songs, but are they good? Are they something I want to share with the world, or is it just going, hey, look at me, I wrote this song, and it's only got 3 chords, and it can't go wrong. But is it really good, or is it ego? Is it like stroking your own, So for me personally, it's like I say, some of the songs came to me while I'm in my focus. Some of the time I had the music down and had like placement words, and then I'd just, while we'd record during the day, I'd stay up and drink some Buckle Bunny beer and just Hemingway that shit. Go, okay, this is where this word goes. If you'd look at the original songs as they started before recording them and look how they turned out, there'd be a whole different album. I think on Monsters and Robots, I try not to be so dark, and even try not to be so dark, it came out a little dark. But it's a fun record, but you don't, it just comes to me. The songs write me. I get a riff, and if the riff is cool but the words are shit, it might be another year or two before I even try to, prime example, Don't Say It was supposed to go on Unhappy People. I just didn't like it. This song sucks. I've got to fix it. Well, I did, and it's on Monsters and Robots. But yeah, that's just how I do it. I don't know. I get inspired a lot. Sometimes I just sit and drink my Buckle Bunny beer and look out the window at my truck, and then I look over at my drum set, and I look back at my truck, and I look at my drum set, and then I go to bed. Not one song get written.
This whole process, I'm so jealous. God, I wish I was a musician.
And then other times I hear somebody say something I think is just funny as hell, and I'll let that stick in my head and then work that out. And then like other times I'll be on the water at Surfside, and it'll just come to me. Daddy's Demons was written while we were playing dominoes. There's a place called Late Night Pie that's no longer open, but we'd serve pizza like after hours, like late night pie.
Yeah.
We were open till 3 o'clock in the morning. We'd be up, I wrote that song while we were playing dominoes. At least the chorus of it, So,
Dude, I love it. Okay, so what's the show that I'm going to be coming to soon?
hopefully all of them. I need fans. Now we got March 15th. That's with Marshall Falcon. I believe he's releasing a record that night. So we'll be there to support him. March
Where is that
15th.
gonna be at?
Dan Electro's.
I love it.
right in your backyard.
Totally, it is. I will actually.
But you find all that stuff, like I say, opiehendrix.com. I got my merch store up there. I've got music. I think I'm supposed to have, my girlie said she's putting up videos. My schedule. Go to my Facebook or Instagram, because if I have a show, I'm going to post about it ad nauseum.
You want to do any shout outs before we close?
Want to shout out to Morrissey. Oh, there's so many, great folks. Shout out to our sponsors, TNT Shirt Company. Want to shout out to my good carnal, Felipe Pip Galvan, and the whole Los Carnales crew. John Evans, Patrick Hersfeld at Signal Hill Recording in Austin, Texas. Carl Cordova at Pirates Press, record plant up in San Francisco. And we'd be here another Scott and Christie. We'd be here like 2 more hours if I listened to all the people I wanted to shout out. I want to shout out you, Ashley, for inviting me to come and spill my guts on your show.
Look, I am like not gonna cry right now. I really I'm a fan. I am not from Houston. Fell into the music scene literally as a fan almost 4 years ago, I guess now. Then started my candle business and was just witnessed the changing of the music scene from like an outside person. Do you know what I mean? That's why I started this podcast, just to help artists add it to your resume or whatever, give you guys more numbers.
I appreciate that. Yeah,
anytime someone comes and sits down with me, I'm nerding out so hard. Seriously,
and you gotta realize that Houston is traditionally kind of a hip hop town. It's dirty South. I mean,
is.
You've got Swisha House.
It is.
You've got Sugar Hill. You've got hell, Rap-A-Lot, the Ghetto Boys. I mean, Beyonce. But yeah, Houston's not such a bad town. It's all right.
Houston is honestly, as much as I thought I knew about the music scene when I started this podcast, baby, I don't know shit.
Well, you gotta go look
It's
for
so
it.
big, dude.
It ain't gonna.
It's so big.
Huge.
It's so diverse. And I love it so much. I love it so much.
Good.
And it's just
we need
an hour away from an hour. I'm like, God, I need to drive around the weekends to go to all the shows that I want to go to.
We need more like you out there. I mean, because Houston, like I say, you've got to go look for it a little bit. But once you find it, then you get turned on to other. Like I got these kids I work with. They're punk rockers, and when I say that, I mean they're like the new generation.
Yeah.
I mean.
And it's
I think they
different.
call themselves Bozo, but then they got this new, and they split up their own band and make different bands out of their own band, like
Yeah.
Scissor Tail something. But anyway, yeah, and it just does my heart good to see that they're actually learning their instruments, they're working hard, they're dedicated, they rehearse. I mean, they're a band, and they mean it, God damn it. And it just does my heart so good to see that happen. Because there's so many keyboard warriors and programming things that it might sound good, but if you walk out on the floor and all the music sounds the same. Yeah. Can you really tell the difference between so and so and so and so? And a lot of times my old ass can't. And I listen to all kinds of shit. I mean, you should see my playlist. It's over.
Oh, we'll
35 hours long.
I love it. We'll share it. So let me do this. Shout out to Lucid Scream Studios for letting me film here. Check out the podcast every Friday on the Houston Collective and 90.1. Thank you so much.
Thank you.